When you hear economists talk about the demand for money, your first thought might be that they're talking about a desire to become rich. However, the demand for money is the amount of your total wealth that you choose to hold in the form of money. In other words, cash and checking accounts. Note that economists refer to checking accounts as demand deposits. Money is only one of the ways you can hold wealth. Wealth is the value of everything you own. Think about your total wealth. Perhaps you own a car or a house, but you also own money, which is the cash in your wallet and the money in your checking account. The portion of your wealth that you choose to hold in the form of money is your demand for money. But why do people choose to hold money? Let's take a look at the 3 motives people have for holding money. Then we'll explore the incentive that individuals and businesses have to earn interest. To simplify things, let's assume that there are only 2 types of assets that we can own. Money, which earns no interest but can be used as a medium of exchange, and bonds, which do earn interest but cannot be used as a medium of exchange. An asset's liquidity refers to the ease at which it can be converted into a medium of exchange. Money is the most liquid asset we have in the economy. In other words, we can use money to buy stuff easily. The liquidity of money explains why people choose to hold money instead of other assets such as bonds that could earn them a higher return. According to John Maynard Keynes, people have 3 motives for holding money. 1, they want to buy goods and services. 2, even though they don't earn anything on the money they hold, people want to hold money in anticipation of buying other assets like bonds. And finally, they also want to hold money in case of an emergency. I want to introduce you to Christina, who lives in Econoland. Let's take a look at these 3 motives from her perspective. Firstly, the primary use of money is for transactions because, as we learned, it serves as a medium of exchange. Christina often holds money in the form of cash or checking accounts in order to buy goods and services. Economists call this the transactions motive. For example, Christina keeps cash in her wallet so she can buy groceries, something that she does every week. The more cash she has in her wallet, the less time she has to spend at the bank. Secondly, money is not just a medium of exchange, it's also a store of value. Because of the opportunity cost of holding money, people have an incentive to hold their wealth in assets that generate a return. Christina may want to speculate and take advantage of an investment opportunity when the time is right. We call this the speculative demand for money, and it's sometimes referred to as the asset demand for money. Finally, there could be a lot of uncertainty about when income will be received or when expenses must be paid. What if Christina has an emergency, such as a flat tire or other unexpected expenses? She sometimes holds money as a precaution. Economists call this the precautionary demand for money. Of course, this is compounded when the economy slows down and the general level of fear about the future rises. When people are uncertain about the future, they hold more of their wealth as money. So, Keynes taught us that there are 3 motives for holding money. Now for an important question. How much money do individuals and businesses in the economy actually hold? In other words, what determines the quantity of money demanded by individuals and businesses in the entire economy? To answer this question, we need to take a look at the economic decision that people make with money. Most economic decisions involve trade-offs. People decide how much of something they want by determining the benefit they would gain from it. And money is no different. As we just saw, people find it useful to hold some of their assets in the form of money. Why? Because money can be used to make purchases. It's convenient. Other assets, like bonds, pay interest to the owner, but money doesn't earn any interest, so there's a cost to holding it. The economic decision regarding how much money to hold is based on the trade-off between enjoying the convenience of cash with no interest earned and owning bonds instead that have the benefit of earning interest but offer no convenience. In other words, there's an opportunity cost of money, which is the return or interest rate your money balances could be earning if they were invested in bonds instead. For example, if bonds are currently paying 5% and money is paying you nothing, then the opportunity cost of holding cash is the 5% interest per year that you could be earning by owning bonds. Let's say I have $1,000. I can choose to hold it as money, either as cash or money in my checking account, or I can choose to buy a bond that pays me an interest rate, for example, 5% per year. If I hold this wealth in a bond, after a year I will have earned $50 in interest and have $1,050. But if I held this wealth as money instead, I would earn nothing and still have $1,000 at the end of the year. This opportunity cost changes over time because the interest rate changes. The incentive to earn interest gets bigger as the interest rate goes up. The higher the interest rate, the more bonds people choose to hold and the less money they hold. Economists would say it this way: at a low interest rate, the quantity of money demanded is high. As the interest rate rises, the quantity of money demanded will fall. This is why the demand curve for money is downward sloping. I remember the early 1980s when the federal funds rate, or the short-term interest rate, was high, like 14 or 15%. The opportunity cost of holding money was very high. And if you had wealth, you wanted to hold as much of it as possible in interest-bearing accounts and as little cash as possible. The demand for money at that time was low. When the overall level of interest rates falls, the opportunity cost of holding money falls as well. During the Great Recession, which began in December of 2007, the Federal Reserve took actions that caused the interest rate to fall from 5.25% in 2007 to 3% in 2008 and nearly 0% by 2015. So the opportunity cost of holding money fell dramatically, and as a result, people held more cash. Cash was more desirable in comparison to bonds, which earned very little interest, so the demand for money was high. The demand for money is therefore the relationship between the quantity of money in cash and checking accounts that people want to hold and the factors that determine that quantity. Economists illustrate this using the demand curve for money. This is what a demand curve for money looks like. At an interest rate of 20%, point A shows that the quantity of money demanded is $200 billion. If the interest rate is at the lower rate of 10% instead, the opportunity cost of money is lower, and the quantity of money demanded rises to $400 billion, as shown by moving from point A to point B. So, what is the relationship between the quantity of money that individuals and businesses want to hold and the interest rate? We can say that the quantity of money people want to hold is negatively or inversely related to the interest rate. That's why the curve is downward sloping. What are the things that have the greatest impact on money demand? The macroeconomic variables that have the greatest impact on money demand are the price level, real income, and the nominal interest rate. The higher the price level, the higher the demand for money, since more units of money are needed to carry out transactions. For example, if Christina goes to the store this week and discovers that all prices have gone up by 10%, then she may start carrying more cash in her wallet. Secondly, real income is another variable affecting demand. The higher the level of real income, the higher the need for liquidity, and so the higher that money demand is. Naturally, the level of transactions goes up and down as people earn more or less income. Let's say that the economy is growing and Christina's income goes up. The more income she earns, the more she can spend, and therefore the more money she needs for transactions. Finally, the nominal interest rate will influence the demand for money. When the nominal interest rate is high, money demand is low because the opportunity cost of holding money, that is, the interest you forego on other assets, is high. For example, when Christina can earn 5% by holding bonds instead of 0% by holding money, her demand for money is low. So the price level, real GDP, and the nominal interest rate have the biggest influence on money demand. Now that you have a better understanding of this topic, I want you to try some practice problems.